So, with that, Abdal and Saab, I will leave it to you. Is also, so you know, this presentation is also broadcasted live through YouTube, and it will also be available there afterwards if you say that this was interesting, I want to see this again. But I will find your presentation.
Okay.
So you have 30 minutes to present, and then it's 10 minutes opposition, and then about 15 minutes for questions and discussion for the audience. And I will give a sign when it's 5 minutes left. So welcome.
Thank you, Linnea. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our presentation. I'm Sourabha Bhat, and this is
Abdalrahman Alobeissi.
The title of our thesis is The Compact City, Forming a Connected Circles Mapping of Processes and Actors in the Urban Design Phase, and a case study of Landvetter Sodra. To start, I will quickly introduce to our agenda of the presentation. That is, first we are going to speak about problem setting, then aim of the thesis, and then as Linnea mentioned, we have phase 1 and phase 2, which is phase 1 is investigating and developing research questions, and phase 2 is analyzing and answering research questions. To start with, it is expected to have a rapid growth in population and urbanization by 2050, and 70% of the world population is expected to be living in urban areas. Because of rapid growth, the cities are required to develop and promote sustainable urbanization. And one of the city development plan is compact city concept, where it is academically recognized as a policy approach to densification. But however, you can observe in this picture that the compact city relates to many other elements and contexts.
Point to the other way.
Back.
Hence, compact city is a wicked problem and it should be answered through local context. And in our case, the local context is Landvetter Sodra. So, the aim of our thesis is to propose an adaptive framework to improve the collaboration between local actors and processes involved in the urban design phase, and also to identify their role in achieving compact city. So now we come for the phase 1, where, as I mentioned before, it was about investigating and developing research question. As John explained, we have used the method called backcasting, and also a few other tools such as system mapping and stakeholder dialogue. So we conducted stakeholder dialogue session, and the topic was mobility of people. And during the dialogue session, we came across like people have to travel long distance due to poor city design. But redesigning the existing city is too complicated and expensive, which is also a debatable issue. And then after brainstorming, we came across this idea about how about building a new city? And then we started finding the projects which are happening around Västra Gotland region. And then we encountered Landvetter Sodra, who are also aiming for compact city concept. And that's how we formulated our research question. How is Landvetter Sodra positioned within the contemporary debate towards the compact city as an ideal model? And our sub-question, how can local actors and processes contribute to reshaping such an ideal model towards a more context-adapted development? And over to you, Abdal.
Thank you. As Sal mentioned, we reached the research questions. Now I will accompany you through a journey to analyze and answer the research questions. Our journey will start, it consists of 5 steps. It starts with theory, then method, case study, analysis, and results. The theory is mainly about reviewing researchers, topics that concade with our research question. By viewing current debates, compact city definitions, characteristics, design processes, and actors. And then, in the end, we will go through the analytical framework. Yes. The basis of this, there is a current debate about compact city. The basis of this debate, sparked by Portland report in 1987 about sustainable development. There are arguments supporting the approach of compact city as a design based on reasoning it encourages densification, reduced mobility, resources, and energy efficiency, and so on and so forth. However, on the other hand, there are arguments to disagree with that view, and their basis is it's going to increase pollution, increasing crowding, unaffordable housing, and so on. The argument will continue, but the most views are supporting or in favor toward compact city, as Molini and Salgado research in 2012. Now, what is compact city? There are many definitions for compact city, started with Danzig and Sackte in 1973. One of those definitions is a spatial urban form characterized by compactness, and the characteristics, they have 3 main characteristics. We made our definition based on our research results and in the same approach as literature, with some modification, such as sustainable compactness and density, respecting nature and wildlife. Also, multidisciplinary and community collaboration for better quality of life. As we all know the definition by now, I will introduce compact city general characteristics. Through literature interview, the most common characteristics are density, which is related to areas that promotes high density, mixed land use, a blend of different usages in the urban spaces, accessibility and connectivity through sustainable transportation. However, the reality is more complicated than those 3. To show how reality is more complicated, the adapted figure reflecting city characteristics or attributes, which are divided into 2 sections, states and impacts. The states are divided into 3 subsections: people, nature, and built structure. The action and the interaction between those 3 subsections have primary and secondary impacts. As it's shown here. No. Now I will speak about design processes and actors. Even it's general, but it's applicable on compact city. The processes start with the stage 1 of initiating the project and ends with the stage 4, which is implementation of the project, with 4 transitional stages. However, also there is something. However, in 2014, a research by Diaz et al., they are emphasizes the importance of shifting from similar processes from top down to bottom up, which is mainly about involving local community from the beginning till the end of the project. Regarding actors, we adapted stakeholder onion diagram from Cheeske 2017, and sorry if I'm saying the names wrong. The actors are divided into 3 circles. The first circle is a primary stakeholder, which have, or they have significant influence on the project. The second, or the secondary stakeholders in cycle 2, they have important but are not involved in day-to-day actions or operations. And the wider environment circle 3, they are indirectly affected by the project. The analytical framework, like policy triangle and connected circle, are used to visualize our work results. Now I will speak about the method used in the research. This table represents our method. We used 5 types of methods like case study, reference project, content analysis of semi-structured interviews and websites. The table shows why we choose them and what are the expected outcome of them. Now, our case study. The case study is Landvetter Sodra, which is aimed to be human, modern, international, and innovative city. The city is located in Västra Götaland region in Härryda municipality between 2 cities, Gothenburg and Borås. And this is the project. And it's very in the close range of Landvetter Airport. This is a sky view for the project location. Yeah. Some facts about the project. It's about 25,000 and more inhabitants will be, in total area of 650 hectares. And this figure shows the old, in a gray line, the old railway, and the red one is the new railway, Götalandsbanan. This time schedule of the project started or initiated in 2012, and the expected start of the construction is in 2020. Through our content analysis, for the project web page, we encountered the term Samsam, and Landvetter Sodra is involved with. So what is Samsam? It's samskapande samhällsplanering. I hope it's good. Samsam, they have been supervising co-creation workshops with Landvetter Sodra to unify municipality vision. Samsam is one of Menstra Urban Future projects which aim to develop knowledge, method, and tools for planning and creation of regional energy efficient built structure along railway lines. That's good. They have 6 workshops in total, concentrating on different aspects. And we've been lucky to observe one of the workshops. Some of the workshop results are related to density locations, and other aspects like the buildings location, the green areas, so on and so forth. Also strategic choices, like how's the streets and how it's going to be connected. This time schedule shows the municipality investigation with Samsam workshops and the further steps is going to be taken. Now I'll speak about the methods that we used to no, actually not that. So I will speak about the reference projects. First, I will introduce the projects in brief. They are Vauban from, we took it from Germany, and Riesefeld from Germany. And there is Polvaranca from Spain and Northesto from UK. This table shows why we chose those projects and the main success factors in them, especially North Stowe here, which is a totally new city. And it's similar to our case study because they have almost the similar population and numbers of dwellings. Now, about the lessons learned from them, and this is the main important part of it. For example, from Vauban, involving communities will create more sustainable solutions. Public transportation services will lower carbon footprint, and this is in all of them. The main one, like as I said, from North Stowe, integration and accumulation with the surrounding community by shared facilities and services connected by sustainable transportation to reach sustainable region. Now, this process diagram is showing how we made analysis for interviews and documents. We have chosen those themes, which is not appearing yet, that one. Processes, actors, compact city attributes, and compact city states and impacts, because we found them relevant to our thesis topics. This is some of the 6 interviews that we did. Statements categorized based on the themes. For example, actors here, the main actor is the municipality, in addition, politician and practitioner in the municipality. Yeah, we have used some processes to structure design processes, and we have no, that's the wrong thing. Now, this process diagram showing how we made analysis for interviews and documents. We have chosen, mistakes. Further through the content analysis, we have made a stakeholders mapping. Now that's correct. For Landwitter Sodra. And we introduced the bonding between stakeholders as it's shown in the figure. Based on the analysis also. We have used some processes to structure our design process. And we have assigned actors from interviews and stakeholders mapping to the process, as is shown also in this figure. And now I will handle the things to Sam.
Thank you. So now I'll speak about the results. So we have divided our results into 3 parts. The first is the policy matrix, the second is the connected circles mapping, and the third one is the recommendations. So this is the policy matrix which we created. It might look complicated, but it's not. So the purpose of this is to show the integration between stakeholder mapping, stakeholders, urban design processes, compact city attributes, and compact city states and impacts. And this is supported by the literature source and also from Landwitter Sodra. For example, we have used color pink for literature source and so on. And to show the connection between all, I can just give some examples. That is, if you consider co-initiation process and the circle one, that is primary stakeholders, and you can see that their interaction has an effect on compact city attributes and compact city states and impacts. And further, to show the connections between compact city attributes and compact city state and impacts, we can say that the attributes, when referred to the states, that is people, build, structure, nature, and it shows an impacts, that is density, when referred to the people, have an impact on quality of life, for example. And to say more about this, we can observe here that the primary stakeholders and the wider environment stakeholders are suggested to be involved from the beginning of the process until the end. And the literature specifically says that the community should be involved from the beginning till the end of the project. And the key note to be noticed here is that our case study is still not stepped into the co-implementation process, and that's why we don't have data supporting for it. So the next one is the connected circle mapping. This is just a simple version of the policy matrix. And we have to do this diagram, we have got the inspiration from policy triangle and connected circles mapping, as Abdul mentioned before. So the purpose of this is to show the interaction between the process, actors, context, complexity, and the community. So we suggest that all this has to work simultaneously to achieve the complexity. And to further dig into it, in the process, we say that the community and all the other relevant actors has to be involved from the beginning till the end. And they should have a stakeholder mapping to evaluate their engagement level and assign them according to the processes. And the context here in our case is Landvetter Sodra, but it can be adopted to other general scenarios. And also the complexity characteristics, as Abdul mentioned before. So usually these things, these elements are analyzed separately, but we here have integrated it all together. And our third results is the recommendation for Landvetter Sodra. We have found, during our analysis and interviews, we have found few good things about Landvetter Sodra. That is, we thought that the main connection, the main railway connection, that is Götaland-Banan, is a very good scope to have a connection to different cities, and also good external accessibility and connectivity, that is to Gothenburg and airport and borders and so on. And main thing what we observed during the workshops is the density is considered by respecting the nature or generous provision of green spaces. And also well-structured co-creation process such as visionary process such as Samsung. And the few things we believe that could be fixed are the population size should be increased as if we compare it for the reference projects, and to involve communities from the beginning of the project, opportunity for affordable housing to reach one of the project goal, that is diversity, and the municipalities should have a policy to secure available affording houses where the market prices are not affected, and to involve expertise during the co-creation process such as geologists, policy makers for more evidence and knowledge-based results. And after this, we thought of having some recommendation for generic scenarios. Our first recommendation is to have qualitative approach. That is, the policy should promote sustainable compactness with local stakeholders rather than through a quantitative approach. And the second one, as have been mentioned before, is to encourage bottom-up approach rather than the top-down. And the third one is the focus is to focus on the context rather than the taken for granted universal dogma. And to suggest like a co-creation process which is Samsung, performed between relevant stakeholders. And last but not the least, involving multi-expertise and communities. So finally, we come to answer our research questions. Our first question was, how is Landvetter Sodra positioned within the contemporary debates towards the compact city as an ideal urban model? So to answer this, we gathered all the data which we spoke about, and the qualities which we found in the Landvetter Sodra, we have highlighted it. So after highlighting, we realized that Landvetter Sodra manifests many good qualities required in the compact city, but there are few things which they could be involved in the future or they could be fixed. So we think that according to this analysis, we believe that the land with the Sodra is positioned well. And next to come to answer our sub-research question, that is, how can local actors and processes contribute to reshaping such an ideal model towards a more context-adaptive development? To answer this, we believe that the focusing simultaneously on all the elements in the policy triangle, that is content, context, process, and actors, will help in reshaping such an ideal model. And as I mentioned, that is the tools which we mentioned, such as connected circles mapping and policy matrix, are the updated version of policy triangle. And actually, this answer can be answered visually in those tools. But however, the key points to be noted are to set a common goals towards achieving complexity attributes and follow it throughout the process, create stakeholder mapping, involve primary and wider stakeholders, and initiating co-creation workshops. The suggested tool will help in co-creation, collaboration, efficiency, and also scale up the design process. Last but not the least, we would like to thank Challenge Lab for this wonderful opportunity and our supervisor for guiding us throughout the project, and the stakeholders for making their time, and also our beloved family and friends for their constant support. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a nice presentation. Then I will invite Spiros and Hani for opposition. So welcome to the stage, and you will have 10 minutes, and I will sign or give you a sign when time is running out. And then I will open the question to the rest of the audience.
You want us to stand up?
One for each, for example, on the stage.
Okay. You can start.
Thank you for the presentation. It's really informative. I like the depth of your analysis. It's really very good. You did a lot of job, and I was like really impressed that you did a lot of things, especially this matrix. It's really complicated and it requires like a lot of things to bring together. So like really well done for this. I have some like points in mind, but I would like Spiros, like if you have something first, if you have a question.
Yeah, so
I have some.
I have a question about the definition that you developed. Is it based on literature? And if that is the case, which literature do you base your definition of compact city on? And if it's your own development, why do you put it in the literature part and not in the result part?
Actually, that's a good question. The definition is not just developed by literature. It's developed through the whole research, from workshops, interviews, what the literature said about the compact city, and so on and so forth. And we put it in that position after the main or the literature definition, because we wanted to show the differences between what the literature suggests and what we suggest. If we delayed it to the later, I think our audience will be like, what they are speaking about again? So we wanted like to make it very close in a range to each other, so that like the comparison, it's obvious that we created something like have some sort of characteristics from RE4, but it's formulated differently. That's one of the things and why we put it in here. Actually, it's a result. I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's the main reason. It's like for our audience, beloved audience, to understand us and keep following us through the presentation and have the comparison more obvious.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Do you have something to add, or?
No, I think he answered.
I have a question actually. Like I'm not into the content that deep, but I looked at the report and like I looked at the presentation and I found that like for the method part, you just like talk about like less than half a minute for it. Although I think that it's very important to like highlight what are the methods that you are using and linking them to what happens later. So I am like a little bit confused, like how the analysis and results related to the method, and like how did this alignment between like the different parts, because like I have seen a lot of things and I cannot like find any, not find any connection, but like it's hard for me to follow, like how did you apply the method and how did you reach the results?
Yeah, I can answer this. We didn't speak a lot about it, but in the analysis part, whatever we showed is through the methods. For example, the reference projects and also the stakeholder mapping, and the process diagram was done through the content analysis of interviews, website, workshops, and everything. So it is connected, but in the analysis part, we have not showed in very detail because of the time constraint. But yeah, we have considered it in the analysis part.
And that's one of the things now, like our written report is not finished yet. We will take this into consideration to show it more. But also what is written is more elaborative, what it's been said, because you cannot, like, it's very difficult, actually, that's one of the things, is to pressure and to compact, and that's one of the good things between what's happening. We are compacting also the presentation or our research into 30 minutes. And it's a lot, like if we just have the chance to elaborate, it's gonna be a lot of elaboration. We can stay or keep speaking and presenting for days, I think, not just for one day, it's not enough, for days about compact city, about the characteristics, about, it's very interesting and very deep and very like critical sometimes subject to deal with. So yeah, I will I understand what's like, it's a little bit vague.
Yeah.
But the time constraints also put us, and we wanted to concentrate about what we get. So that's why we decided to save 1/3 of our presentation to the result mainly. And we compacted everything else into 20 minutes, put everything. So sorry about if it wasn't so clear, but we will try to enhance our written report in that matter.
I think you have done a really good presentation and you really tried to show the result. I have a question about the lesson learned. Would you like to tell us if you have ranked them, or if it would be a good idea to rank them maybe, or which lesson learned are the most important so far?
Actually, that didn't cross our minds, so because maybe we are too deep in that and we are analyze the reference projects. But yeah, actually it's a very good idea to rank what's the lesson learned, what has been accepted or adapted or applied in several projects, and what's been unique in each case study, and what's have been just a common between several ones. This type, or what you are suggesting, actually we will have to work on that and to write it down.
Yeah, and addition to add to him, when we put that in the slides, I think we put the most relevant ones in the upside, and so it's quite in the increasing order. So, but we didn't rank it officially. Yeah.
Thank you.
2 minutes left.
Okay, I just have a final question.
Yeah.
In the analysis part, you showed this co-assigning actors and stakeholder mappings to the design process, and you say that you apply the SAM approach. But I have seen this also in the literature part. Did you incorporate both of them, or how did you develop this framework later? It was not clear.
Yeah. So the one which we found was in the literature, and when we went through the interview, when we interviewed the Samsung people, then we realized that they also have the same kind of approach, which is similar to our literature. So that's why we incorporated both of things together, and because we found it similar.
And because we have both, also that the slide is if we put the details about each process, it's not going to be readable. And Yeah, but it's the details of the processes. It's have a lot of similarities, more than like differentiate or disagreeing about the processes or in details. So that like let's like put it in a little bit, elaborate about it and use the SAMSAM as we found it like very close to what we are looking for as a result, which is collaborative effort or co-creation efforts towards compact city.
Okay.
Thank you. Then time is up. An applause for the opposition. And with this, you can sit down again if you want. And I will open the question for open to the audience for questions. What would you like to know more about or ask so and Abdalrahman?
Come on.
Okay, I have a question.
We have one behind you first.
Yes.
Do you really think they will start build at 2020?
They said they will start building in 2020.
That's not the
I'm not here to question their integrity or their plans. I used their data. I will hope that they will do it because it's gonna be a good thing to continue seeing or what's happening in the future. Is it they achieved what they are aiming for? And what is gonna be the implication of SAMSAM on the further? So it's gonna be interesting. But
And yeah, to add to him, we also encountered that they have, right now they are in the process where they have approached the developers and they are already selected the developers. So I think the process might start soon because they already have prioritized the developers and the official selection is done. So.
Thank you for the presentation.
Most welcome.
I always find this interesting with the city planning and making the cities more compact. But I have a question about Lavete Södra. Do you see any problems with building a new city outside a bigger city, like starting a totally new city from the basics, as I understand it, Lavete Södra?
Actually, that question we've asked several of our interviewees about what do you think about this and what's your opinion about this? It's quite interesting answers to receive, but let's take it into consideration. If in the UK they did it, and if we are applying here, also there is we are increasing in number and population in the world. They are working here in Harida municipality with densification in the cities that they have. But they need to increase. There is limited spaces and they own this land. So they have to invest. Also that's one of the things. That's why we are suggesting a compact city. Because if we are stop increasing the population in the world, yeah, we don't need it. But unfortunately we are more and more and more. So we need to build new cities. It's a necessity. But we need to build it and design it in a good way, in a proper way, in a sustainable way.
Thank you.
So I have a question to you and your backgrounds. So you are, as I understand, you're one architect and one civil engineer. And I just wonder what has been like for you working together, full time for half a year with those different and also complementary backgrounds. And also in relation to the real world process that you have followed and been interacting with, if you've had come in with different perspectives and what you kind of learn out of that. So.
Yeah, I think because of our different background, we actually complemented each other's. We found out each other's strengths and weakness and we tried to work on it. As he's an architect, he's good with the urban development and stuff, and I'm good with other stuff. So we balanced. I think that was a good experience. We both learned a lot of things with each other. Not to forget also the fights. But yeah, I think overall it was a good experience. And the one thing which we encountered and which we found really good about all this study was when we got a chance to attend the workshop, where we were quite mesmerized by the things, how it's working here, the co-creation process, because it was quite new to both of us. So that thing was a very good experience we have encountered.
If I can elaborate a little bit more, the workshops, as she said, for me as a person who worked, or not worked, as studied urban design and urban planning, when I saw this, this is like a challenge lab. And this is what I felt like, this is how our city should be designed. It's like everybody's gathered working to find solutions, not to just like handing papers and giving another like a practitioner this pile of papers and work on it. Is everybody's mind in the room for this project, collaborating and compromising and reaching for the solution. So it's this experience, the whole thing, the 6 months that you mentioned, like it's not just the cherry on my master degree, it's actually the whole cake. Yeah. Most of it.
Any questions? Well, I have a question for you. What happened? How were you perceived by Landvetter Södra when you are coming in and want to collaborate with them on this question or on this project and want to investigate this?
They were really very supportive and encouraging, and everyone were like, we got replies within 1 day or something with all the stakeholders. So they were really, really interested to help us to know our results. They were really supportive. And yeah, they also want our results and everything. So I think they are very interested in our topic.
That's quite interesting what's happened, because the people that we decided we want to meet them. Actually, we succeeded to meet the people that we want to meet.
Yeah.
And when we attended the workshops, we've received 3 meetings after that. It's like, we want to have, no problem. Which time do you want to meet us? And we want to discuss about Landvetter. Yeah, no problem. We'll have a discussion. And they booked it full time for us with a full description and full details and answering all the questions.
Yeah, and we believe that they have answered all the questions very brief, they have explained it really quite well without hiding anything, so it felt good.
This is more related to compact cities. Do you consider Gothenburg as a compact city?
Actually, quite nice and interesting. For me, as a personally, I don't think all the parts are compact. There is parts not compacted. You can work for a while in some parts of the city that public transportation is not serving that much. You work in some parts is like totally residential, and you've been wondering where are the other facilities that you want to create that low distances traveled. It's good, there is public transportation. You can walk in areas that everything is existing and creating an environment or an urban space that is very unique. But you have to question the other parts, if that totally compact or can be compacted more, or what's the modification. So I say it's yes, ja, in the Swedish it's like between yes and no for me.
For me, I feel like there are few qualities which Gothenburg has, but not all the qualities. And that is the reason they are planning to build a new city outside, because they find the redesigning this whole thing will be more complex and expensive. And the housing demand is now increasing. So I don't think Gothenburg has all the qualities, but it has major of the qualities, because Gothenburg is very compact and you can walk around and go to other places. But there are few qualities which we feel missing.
You said you were well received. by Landvetter Södra. I know them a little. The CEO, Maria, she worked in the science park. She's my friend. So that was good to hear. But I am sure that your work has been good value for Landvetter Södra as well. Do you know if they will use your analysis results or any threads of what you have found? Will you continue? A second question. Will you continue? My life in the academic world was a long time ago, so I don't know. Is this the stop, or will you continue work with them? 2 questions.
They asked from us to send our written report when it's finished, so they can have like a view of it, and maybe, and that's like an assumption, it's gonna be used or it's gonna be implemented. Regarding the second 2 questions, personally, I want to continue if I have the chance to continue, but it's also regarding opportunities and chances. But it's the urban design has been like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And when we were doing this thesis, we also found out that this topic is very vast. So I think we have a lot to explore, and this is just some part of it. So it would be great if we get the opportunity to continue it.
What do you think is your contribution to Landvetter Södra in this?
Actually, it's in the recommendation that we give. It's just very specific recommendations, what they have to keep and enhance, what they have to take it into consideration to be fixed. And some of the, if you will use our model, they are most welcome. And we would like to see, actually, that's one of the things, if they used it, would like to see how we can help to improve the model and the whole urban design process. It's
Yeah, and to add to him, I think during the process, everyone started asking, what is your topic on and stuff. I think we have informed most of the people that there is a new city called Landvetter Södra which is happening. I think we are also contributed in
advertising.
telling most, like making people aware of it. So I think that's another perspective of the contribution.
Do you have any comments, John?
No, actually, more than I really enjoyed listening to you, and it was very clear, presented, and joyful to listen to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have one last question, and that is, you have now been here. We started the 21st of January. We've been here for 5 months. What are your takeaways from this process?
It's quite a lot.
Yeah, I'd say it's a lot. I have to compact it again.
Yeah, compact always. Besides our fights, no, that's our fights is like our arguments, actually one of the good things.
But I feel like after being in this process, it has changed something in me. I'm aware of a lot of other things than before, and I don't know, I feel like I've grown in this process, so I don't know how to express in words.
Yeah, the whole challenge lab, the whole, even like during the supervision, like when we are doing the thesis, everything was changing. It's not like, if you asked before 21st, what's your expectation? Maybe that is gonna be, my expectation is very like, yeah, I'm gonna write my master thesis. With the outcomes, also like it's gonna be like just the written report and the presentation. But now when I go through the whole thing, I will say my expectation or the outcomes is like taller than me. A lot of things, how to think in a very scientific way, in a very, start formulating the problem itself, thinking about the other aspect, not just concentrating on a limited problem. You have to widen your perspective to see things, how they are interacted and how you can make small changes. Those type of things are, for me, like outcomes by itself, despite the like the supervision, which was thanks to Marco, it was literally a lot of how to be as a researcher, or how to approach to be a researcher, because we're still not researchers, but how to approach to be a researcher, think in a scientific way, build your work to be stabilized and have a truly a result that can change. So for me personally, that's like still part of what I came, or what I had gained after this experience.
Thank you very much.
Mostly.